Hey guys, welcome back to another video on Legend Bowl. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the latest update to the passing mechanics in the game. First thing I want to highlight here in the passing help guide are a couple of things that I really wanted to add to the game that I've already pretty much had in the game, but it wasn't as, I guess, prominent as it could be. I wanted it to be more visible to the user, and that's accuracy of the QB. So I'm used to playing games like All Pro Football, where when you throw the ball, if you're standing still and you're in the proper stance and you're not moving, you throw a lot more accurately than you would if you were actually running and throwing at the same time. And in All Pro Football, mobile QBs, which have a faster speed rating, they get less of a penalty when they're throwing the ball on the run. So I wanted to enhance what I already had in the game. The game already had a small penalty if you were on the run and moving while you were throwing, but it wasn't enough, and it wasn't noticeable enough to really give the player feedback. So I wanted to improve upon that. And a couple of things you're going to want to look out for here in this help guide, which just reinforces what I'm saying here, is the QB is more accurate when they're not moving. So if you're in the pocket or you have a good offensive line and you don't have to be moving as a QB and you could stay still, then you're going to get a better stance and you're going to get a better throw with better accuracy as a result. Okay. And also on the bottom here, the QB skill rating obviously impacts your throw accuracy as well. And there are some random times where you could be throwing a perfect pass. Not perfect. If you throw a perfect pass, you're going to get it every time. But if you throw anything in the blue, which is this area, these areas here, if you throw anything in the blue, you're typically going to get the result that you asked for, with a little bit of margin of error. But then every once in a while, you are going to get a significant error that happens just because it's a random error based on the player's skill in the game. And then there's also the new piece, which I'm talking about now, which is when you're moving, and I'll show you more here, but there's a lot more now under the hood to help with these changes. So let's take a look at Richard Perez here. He's not the best QB. He's got a 77 skill rating, a 43 speed rating, and a 41 agility rating. The grade for mobile QB, the qualification for that is you have to have a speed of 85 or above, and you have to have an agility of 80 or above. So what happens is if you're moving as you throw the ball, you'll get less of a penalty if you have a mobile QB. Okay. This guy is neither. He's not a mobile QB, and he's also not a really great QB, but we're going to go ahead and show you some things here. So if we go back into the game, you're going to see one of the major things that I wanted to do was, so if you're just moving, so if I'm just moving to the right, let's say, and I throw it to the right, you're probably not going to get an error because it's a very, very small chance. Now, remember what I said earlier, no matter what you're doing, whether you're standing or you're moving, there's always going to be a chance based on your skill level where you'll get an error. Like you'll get a throw that gets thrown out of whack. So we're going to go ahead and try to do that now and see if we can get one of those to happen. So if I just throw it, there's a chance where you're going to get that error. And when it comes up, we'll show you here, but basically you have that chance of the error happening. You also have a chance where as you're moving, if you're throwing the same direction as the receiver, right? So if I'm rolling to the right and my receiver's going to the right, let's go ahead and look at B here. If we're going to roll this way and the receiver's rolling this way, and we throw it to the right, you're not going to get a penalty for moving and throwing to a player or you're going to get a penalty, but it's going to be a small, very small penalty. Okay. And it's not even a guaranteed penalty. It's a chance at a penalty happening to your accuracy. So basically, if you're rolling to the right and you throw to the right, you don't have to worry about a super high increase in your accuracy taking a hit. But if you are rolling to the right and you throw to the left, then the chances of throwing accuracy penalty increase dramatically, okay, exponentially. So what'll happen is if you have a mobile QB, all of this stuff gets toned down. But if you don't have a mobile QB, then you're going to see this happen a lot. So when you're throwing across your body, which means you're rolling one direction and you're throwing the opposite direction as you're moving, you will get a much higher penalty chance at your accuracy. Okay. And so if we take a look at that here and we kill all this stuff that we just did and we just try to simulate this in real time, I'm going to go ahead and throw to Y. I'm going to roll to the right and throw to Y. And you could see what just happened there. You have a new animation and the camera actually shakes as well, but you could turn that off in the settings if you guys don't like that. But basically what happened there was I was rolling to the right and I was throwing to my left. And let's try that a few more times just so you can see. See, that time it didn't happen. Okay. So it really just depends on if you have a mobile quarterback, how good your quarterback is. And then you also have to realize that it's just a chance at it happening. So we've added that to the game. So when you're rolling the right to the right and you throw to your left, that was a nice throw. So I'm going to get it every single time, by the way. Nice throws will trump any of the penalties that you're going to get to accuracy. Okay. But I want to trigger it again so you guys can kind of see, and there it goes. Boom. So when you're rolling the opposite direction, just know that you will, you have a chance to get a penalty. And it also depends on how good your quarterback is. If your quarterback's a higher skilled quarterback, like if you have a top tier quarterback and you're doing this, the chances of you throwing an error are going to go down across the board, whether you're just standing still or you're rolling out and throwing the opposite direction or you're just moving, whatever the case may be, the likelihood that you get a penalty for your accuracy shrinks as your quarterback skill increases. Another thing I want to make sure you guys understand is if we do the way it kind of works, you have like a 1 yard safety area here. So if the receiver is, let's just say the receiver's here and I'm right here, it's still good. He has to be like a few yards away from you in order to consider it that you're throwing across your body, basically. So if I'm rolling to the right here and I'm throwing left, if the guy's right here, you're good. It's got a little bit of a margin here where he has to be a little bit farther left. Okay, so that's something that to keep in mind. And another thing, so that's the accuracy part for the most part. Like you're gonna get it's been tuned. Like the entire accuracy for throwing has been tuned with the AI. It's been tuned with your throwing. There's also some new sounds and some new animations that kind of happen. Like the camera will shake. If I throw a bad pass here, you're gonna see I just threw a duck, and the camera shakes to kind of show that off, which I kind of like that because now you actually feel it, and and the controller's going to vibrate too, as it already did. But if we go back to the help real quick, if you are in like this area, there's two different types of bad throws. Okay, there's the whiff, and then there is the so there's a whiff. It'll say whiff on there, like that, and then there's one called a duck. Okay. And basically what that means is the more red you have, the more it goes from whiff to duck. So whiff is like in this area here, but it also depends on your QB. If your QB is a horrible QB and he had a bad throw accuracy rating on that run, then it might even be, you may not even get whiff. You may just go straight to duck. So it just depends on your quarterback. But the point is that the whiff is less dramatic than the duck. So when the bar's like all the way over here, the greater it goes back to the left, okay, after it overcharges and comes back and recoils, the greater it goes back to the left, the more it goes from a whiff to a duck. And the whiff is less penalty than the duck. But basically what that means is you're going to get a screen shake. You're going to get the message that comes up that says you threw a bad pass. And you're also going to have a bad pass happen as a result. And we'll try to do that again right now. I'm going to throw to B. I'm going to have it. And so you're going to get a bad pass. But what's been improved, which is really, really nice, which is why I started down this track, was when you throw a bad pass, it's not going to be thrown like what was happening before. And I know I'm doing a lot of drawing here, but what was happening before is like, let's say I'm throwing to this guy here. It was so weird. Like sometimes what would happen is he would like throw the ball all the way down here, like 30 yards, or like throw it all the way over here. It was nowhere near realistic. Okay. So what's going to happen now is if you're throwing to the guy right there, it should not go some crazy like range. It should not just shoot all the way over here. It should be more realistic to where the receiver is in relation to the quarterback. All right. So it's going to be like in a 360 range. It might be this way. Might land over here. Let me move that around. That might land over here. It might land here. It might land here. It's going to land in some direction, and it could land further out, but it's not going to be some crazy distance super far away from your guy that doesn't even look realistic. And that was what I was trying to settle for or trying to accomplish with this update. Another thing that I was trying to do, which I can show you now, is when the player was, oh, I need to change this. Hold on. Let me see if I can do it here. Yeah, let me change that. Oh, and by the way, while we're here, there's a new passing, this new change to the penalty that you get when you're running around as your QB. You could turn that off here. So passing is going to mean if you have it on, you'll get these penalties when you're the added penalty of when you're moving and you throw across your body, or you're just moving in general, you will get a hit to your passing. But if you guys don't like that and you want to move freely and not get a hit to your passing, just turn this off right here. Okay. So I've added a setting. But what I'm going to show you now is the reason why I started down this track was to fix the issue when you throw the ball out of bounds, it would always land. And I'll show you guys kind of right here in the replay before we do it. The ball will always land like, it would always land like right here. Like literally like every single time. Let me change that color. It would land like right here every time. It would never land all the way over here. Never be like here. It was always right around this area of the line. Okay. And that's something that I was really not happy with. It just didn't look realistic. It wasn't really showing off the dynamics of the game. But now let's throw to this guy here. If I throw a bad pass, look, it's going to throw it. That one threw kind of crazy because I threw a duck, which actually is fine, to be honest. But if I throw to that guy again, I throw a little bit of a duck again. You see how the ball's getting thrown out of bounds now. Okay. Another thing that you guys really can't see here, and I'll show you that in a second, is the wind. All right, so now we're looking at the Washington Eagles and playing with Hamilton as the QB. I think what I'm going to do is change it to where the mobile QB rating is just based off of the speed, because this guy does deserve to get that mobile QB bump. But what I wanted to show you here was the wind. Look at the wind. It's 18 miles per hour. So if I go ahead and throw to, let's say I throw to RB, that wind is going to have a dramatic effect on the ball. You saw how the ball curved, and that's going to be a harsher curve than it was before in the prior iteration of the game. So I did bump up the wind for throwing. Now for field goals, it stayed the same because field goals, I think I got a little bump for field goals, actually, just a slight bump. But when you're playing in this kind of weather, you have to throw the ball either shorter, and definitely you got to throw more bullets, because if you throw the ball high in the air at all, it will get thrown just way off. So I'm going to try to throw a harder pass here, and you see I caught it that time. Now he was running to the right, wind is going to the left, but let's try that again and just see how that works. But the lower you throw the ball, the more speed it has, or the shorter it is, either one, the less the wind impacts the ball. And as the ball goes higher up in the air, the wind will have more of an impact. So I wanted to make sure that that was better represented. Now see, I threw a bad pass there, but it's still, the randomness still gave him a good enough pass where the guy could catch it. But I love that part of the game because it brings in, this is why I wanted to work on passing, because it brings in more user feedback than before. Because before I did have some skill user error, but you really wouldn't see it as much, at least not in the feedback. I don't believe I had anything that showed you. I only had it when it was a really bad pass, like if you threw it in the red. And I also didn't have it anywhere near as good as it is now when it comes to the randomness and how cool the ball like throws around the receiver, like how much better it is, that range that we talked about a minute ago. Let me try this one more time. I want to throw a bullet, and I want to throw it in the direction of the wind. So I'm going to throw to RB again. I'm going to try to throw a bullet here and see if I can complete this pass. See, I still couldn't get it there. Now we're at 11-mile-an-hour wind right now. I'm not sure what it was exactly when that pass was thrown. Let's try this again. But, you know, wind needs to be a factor in the game. Like, I want wind to really make a difference. You see, and I'm not throwing it perfectly. I'm throwing it like 80%. And remember, this guy is also not that strong. He's got a strength of 81, so he's not the strongest guy in the world. Let me see if I can get a better throw. Ooh, that was a straight duck. But see, what I want to happen in the game is I want the win to matter. I want the player skill to matter. I want you to be rewarded if you have a better player. I'm going to bump the wind up a little bit again. Let's do like 12 this time. Ooh, see, I'm not getting it. And maybe the wind is a little bit too strong right now. Maybe I need to bump it down one more notch for throwing. But you should be able to throw a pretty hard pass. And so I'm going to have to bump it down just a tad. But in this update, the wind will have a little bit more impact than it did before. I want you guys to feel the wind changes. Obviously, if I were to bump it to some crazy number, there's no way in hell this guy's catching the ball. 40-mile-an-hour wind. I'm going to throw it. I'm going to flip the play here. And I'll go ahead and throw it to LB. And you'll see that there's no chance in hell he's getting that ball. That ball's gone. It's just gone. So just keep in mind that I'm still tuning it. I'm still working on it. And I think, you know, at this rate, I think it needs to be bumped down just a tad. But that also changed as part of the update. But I'm really excited about the play, the passing in the game, because now it just feels so much better. And like I said, when you throw it out of bounds, and I'm going to bring the wind down a little bit so it's not so crazy, but you're not, the game doesn't lock it down to some, you know, out of bounds. And see there, he caught it still. You know, the pass was thrown off target, but I want to throw one out of bounds real quick so you can just see again how the out of bounds is not locked down to the sideline. So we're going to do that now and just kind of throw. See, and you can even tell there that the ball, you see that the ball, that was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I threw a pretty good pass. I think I stopped my feet before I threw it yet, and I threw a very good pass. But the wind, between the wind and between a little bit of randomness, because you're always going to get a little bit. Nobody throws a perfect pass every time. And the fact that I unlocked this out of bounds area here, okay, this out of bounds area right here is not just going to stop right here where they always catch the ball. It can go out of bounds. So just keep that in mind when you're throwing to the sidelines. You're not guaranteed to get a perfect completion. All right. Now let's go to a better QB and show you guys the difference between a better QB and a bad QB. All right, so now we're looking at Geno Powers, who's a better QB. He's a 98 scale. He's one of the top QBs in the game. I actually changed the weather now to not be as strong, but let's see how this looks. We're gonna throw to LB here and see if we can get. See, so that was closer, and I did not throw a powerful pass there. Okay, so let's try that one again, and let's try to throw a better bullet. Look at his strength. His strength is a 98, so this guy can really throw the ball. Whoop. So he caught it there, and I didn't even throw a great pass. So we're going to keep going. I want to throw a bullet and show you guys that you can throw the ball when you have a better QB and a more powerful QB in the wind. All right, so let's see. Let's get... Oh, over there. I thought I got it there, but I didn't get it. Let's try it again. I'm getting scared to just hold the bar down for too long. That was better that time. Let me see if I bump the wind up to like 20 miles per hour. See if we can still complete that same pass. See, you can't. So at 20 miles per hour, it's just way too much wind to complete a pass like that. You're gonna need to throw a shorter pass. Let's see. Ooh, it's like what I can do, and I want to try it now, which just for fun. But I wanted the wind to be definitely more powerful than it has been. Oh, it's not working. It's not working right. I just toned it down too. I just toned it down. Maybe I need to tone it down one more level, but see, I tried to jump that time on my own and grab it. I think he would have got it anyways. But the wind is definitely going to make a difference, guys. But I also wanted to show you how the game passes with a regular QB. Let's bring this wind back down a little bit. He's not a mobile QB, so if I try to throw to X on the right, see, there's a chance I'm not going to get what I want here. Let's try that again. If I run into the left and I throw to X, see, that time he got it. The wind was a little bit too much to... So the wind is going to be a factor. I may tone it down a little bit more because it still seems like just a little bit too much wind to deal with. But let's throw to Y here and see if we get... See, that time we got it, but we got the penalty because we were rolling to the right and we were throwing to the left. So let me show you now, if I roll the same direction, and I know we're doing a bunch of these, we're just in training camp here, basically just screwing around. But if I'm rolling to the right and my guy's to the right of me, I typically will not get a penalty. So keep that in mind. This is the new passing stuff, guys. I mean, it's going to get better. And on top of it, the computer, the AI, what it will do is when it's playing the game, the difficulty that you set in your settings. And like I said, this is the passing. I got a description here that tells you what this means when you turn it on or off. By default, it will be turned on. I didn't want to lock it in with the regular difficulty because then it would have been, you know, then you would have, I wanted it to be separate. I wanted to give you more control, but I kept it on. And also, what I was going to say a minute ago was the AI passing, their accuracy is going to now be even more affected by the actual difficulty that you set in the game. Okay, so the easier you set the game when you're playing the computer, they're going to be more inaccurate. And if it's a really, really hard mode like Legend, the computer's going to become more accurate. So they get better, obviously, as the difficulty gets harder. But this was something I had to add in. I don't believe I had much in there. I mean, I know I had a bump to their skill based on this setting, but I also bumped it again to give a little bit of accuracy change depending on what level of difficulty. So you're going to want to play around with these. If you're finding that your normal difficulty is a little bit more challenging or less challenging, it's probably because of that change. So this may affect what you play the game on. So just keep in mind that that's also there. But that's pretty much it. That's it for the update. So there are more things that were added in here. So check out the full patch notes. Things like the linemen not blocking as much. And when they block the ball, it's going to be based on their skill levels. Their skill levels matter more now when they swat the ball at the line. And there's some fixes in there and other things. Check the notes. You guys know how to do it, where to find them. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them here or join the Discord. Get on there and talk to us on there, as we're always active in the community there. And we're all, a lot of these ideas come from there. So we'll catch you guys in the next update. Thank you for watching. Thanks for supporting the game. Looking forward to the new year. 2022 is coming. Let's go. Peace.